Hey guys, and welcome to Cannabis TV. My name is Connor McLeod, and in this video I'm going to do a KDP book review of my book, A Case For Cannabis. This review is going to contain a chapter by chapter breakdown, giving a general summary of what each chapter is, and brief notes on what I remember when I was writing it at the time. So, make sure and like and subscribe, and stick around until the end. Now then, let's talk cannabis. So here it is, A Case For Cannabis. I designed the cover, front and back cover. Actually, I designed it in software called GIMP. It's a free software you can get. It's actually an extremely powerful bit of kit, to be fair. Yeah, we've got the blurb. In the past few years, research detailing how cannabis interacts with human physiology has increased dramatically. At the same time, CBD products have become widely available in the UK and used by many to self-treat medical conditions and boost health. Yet very few know why this is. Why is it that cannabis can be used to treat such a wide range of conditions? A Case for Cannabis offers a timely and accessible look into the continuously evolving world of cannabis, drawing information from over 100 peer-reviewed studies, including data from the World Health Organization, the EU, the United Nations, whilst providing insight into the endocannabinoid system, the reason cannabis interacts harmoniously with human biology. A Case for Cannabis also discusses recreational substance use in the 21st century, analysing the primary legal recreational substances used in Western culture and giving a broader context of where cannabis stands in society. I hope I probably spoke way too quickly there, most people didn't understand. Unfortunately, I've just finished the coffee, so apologies if that was untranslatable to many. But yeah, I really enjoyed writing this. As I said before, I think it took me about 4 months to do altogether. This is the chapter breakdown. So altogether I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 chapters and references. It's a relatively short book, to be honest, but it took a lot of hard work. So we've got the introduction, which is just essentially I describe the current situation at the time, this was a year and a half ago. The current situation, which was relating to Charlotte Caldwell and Alfie Dingley. So Billy Caldwell and Alfie Dingley, both who are acquiring medicinal cannabis oil for their intractable epilepsy, and it has a miraculous impact on their life. Alfie Dingley has since had his medicine. Billy Caldwell still experiencing great difficulty to receive his medicine through official channels. So yeah, that was the introduction. It was just to say that pretty much we're at a time where people need to be aware of what's going on. Then the first chapter is what is cannabis. So what is cannabis? Just kind of breaks down sativa, indica, ruderalis, who stumbled across them, their general differences, and also hemp. I give a description at the end of chapter 1 of what is cannabis to do with industrial hemp use, and also hemp's description as a narcotic at the end of the 19th century. And it was not spoiler alert by any means, but it was the British government that orchestrated a analysis on the impact of hemp substances such as hashish and ganja, and varieties such as that, and to study the impact they had on the culture, and they found it to be negligible at best. That was the takeaway point from that study. But that was 1893, 1894. The British Hemp Drug Commission report, I think. To be honest, it's in the book. Should really just read over that. Yeah, here it is. Here, the result was the Indian Hemp Drugs Commission of 1893 to 1894. 7 volumes, over 3,000 pages, which is still to date the largest cross-cultural study of hemp use and its derivatives. The report, which involved interviewing 2,000 individuals from medical practitioners to missionaries in over 30 cities across India, studied the effects of hemp drugs on physical, mental and moral well-being. The report stated the effect of moderate hemp consumption on the physical condition produced practically no evil results at all, and any form of injurious response by consuming hemp was most likely a result of overuse. Yeah, that was just a little. If I was to just finish the paragraph, essentially describing what the impact of hemp drugs had, and this is in 1893, 1894. that they were saying back then. Now, bearing in mind we still have this ongoing debate now of how much harm does cannabis cause. The mental or psychological impact of hemp use, according to the report, was also extremely minimal, with any negative psychological response being the result of an oversensitivity within the individual consuming hemp and not a result of the regular effects hemp usually produces. Finally, the moral impact of hemp use within the Indian subcontinent was negligible. The report found that moderate use of hemp has no negative effects on the integrity of the individual character, but found that excessive overuse or use by individuals whom are sensitive to hemp will provide an amplification of any underlying negative psychological issues which may be present. Essentially, people that are sensitive to cannabis will respond sensitively to cannabis, and the rest won't. So chapter 2 is the endocannabinoid system. Just briefly describing, I attempt actually in detail, it is relatively detailed, but this is discussing phytocannabinoids, endocannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system generally speaking, so the CB1, CB2 receptors, anandamide, 2-arachidonic glycerol or 2-EG. I briefly walk through the timeline which occurred, that caused the findings of the endocannabinoid system, which it wasn't just one case of one person, one research team or any of that kind of stuff. It was a collective effort from hundreds of researchers over decades, which ended up stumbling upon the endocannabinoid system, culminating essentially in 1993 with, I think, the CB2 receptor being found in intestine. So we've also got, I think it's Ethan Russell, who's chairman of, I think it's the Institute of Cannabinoid Research in the Czech Republic. He theorised endocannabinoid system deficiency, which is essentially a physiological deficiency based in your endocannabinoid system, which is found for people that has fibromyalgia, migraines, or irritable bowel syndrome. And this is what stumbled across it. These three symptoms, these three medical conditions, are consistent with what Ethan Russell described as endocannabinoid system deficiency. And since then, there's been an enormous amount of research produced, which corresponds perfectly to what Ethan Russell was saying. So cannabis use disorder and mental health. Obviously, cannabis and mental health is a big issue in the UK. Mainly the UK. The rest of the world, it seems to be not even a talking point. Essentially, a lot of people say it helps their psychological condition. In the UK, it's now been turned around. Decades have been lied to. Again, there is a small amount of people that are sensitive to cannabis, but this does not reflect the greater majority. So I'll briefly talk about mental health in relation to what the research actually indicates. Discussing how people with post-traumatic stress disorder use cannabis, individuals with schizophrenia use cannabis to mediate their, to reduce their symptoms. So, cannabinoids medicinal value. That kind of speaks for itself, just describing the cannabinoids and what their medicinal value is. Synthetic cannabinoids, this is where I talk about spice, and synthetic cannabinoids which have actually taken lives. But synthetic cannabinoids, not the ones used medically, which again is quite ironic that they've had synthetic cannabinoids used in the form of nabilone and dronabinol since the 1970s, but the conversation of medicinal cannabis is still controversial. So with terpenes, I include an extremely brief chapter on what terpenes have available medicinally. Cannabis regulatory science, this is where I actually give a brief table of what terpenes, if you could see that there. Cannabis regulatory science is just where I describe the various international differences on countries that are legalising or at least loosening their prohibition stance. Talking about obviously Netherlands, but starting off with Uruguay. Also describing in detail cannabis social clubs, which are extremely important for allowing the local individuals to maintain control over cannabis. Because obviously with a new industry like this, there is an inevitable filter period, and let's hope that it doesn't filter towards unfortunate corporate monopolisation. So we've got recreational use. This is where I describe the differences between caffeine, alcohol and nicotine, and also how to describe or at least cover the gateway drug theory on how cannabis leads to other drugs where it's not shown to be that the case at all. If anything, the only thing that neurologically primes the brain that's been shown is nicotine, which primes for cocaine use. And then I just include final thoughts at the end, where I just, again, briefly cover over everything that's been discussed in the book and talk about some of the benefits that have happened in the past few years and where the direction seems to be going. And then it's just references. Well, that essentially wraps it up there for this book review of A Case for Cannabis, my own book. Please buy a copy, that'd be amazing if you did. It's by no means out of date. All the information that's in here has been taken from the most up-to-date reports, and these reports are usually produced every 2 years, usually. United Nations annual reports are usually produced, I know it's annual, but every 2 years. It takes so much detail to collect. It's the same with the European Union narcotics report. These are usually annual, but again, the information by no means is out of date, and I have no doubt that many people will benefit a lot by reading the book. It's £8, you can find it on Amazon. The link's going to be in the description box below. And also make sure Canaman TV is now on Patreon, so you can subscribe, you can become a patron and support the channel that way. You'll receive numerous benefits, including never before seen artwork, videos, and early access to content that's going to be produced on YouTube. So thanks for watching till the end of the video. I'll see you next time.